made it live. Excellent. So excited on election day. Holy cow, it's so great last night to experience the culmination of the waves and to understand the momentum behind Pierre Poilievre. Please, boomers, just vote with us. Please just vote with us. It'll just speed up the transition. And know that you public sector profiteers that are thinking, you have essential positions and you'll have upward mobility and the only one left with any social status. Please just go quietly. Let us preserve you in the status quo for now and continue to pay whatever you need to feel safe and comfortable in the world without imploding. But don't vote at all, or don't vote in droves. I keep thinking there's only about 250,000 of them at max, like these public sector Klingons. It's not a huge concern as far as overall voter turnout goes. And like we could have easily just had a 7 million person election and nobody votes today. Just go based on what the advance poll said, because there was enough determined people in that wave to say enough is enough. This is what we want. And I guess, the other, stronghold of liberalism is certain brand of lobbyists that are invested in debts they can't even possibly imagine, that we're so far skewed to the realm of the bias, insignificant, twisted, sick, pathetic, all these things. It's just, we understand how they have to vote, but still the numbers, like I just can't see the blue collar that's around them, the 85% that's not willing to, go for such shitty science and such, they've already dictated everything, globally regional GDPs based in hospital usage and prison usage, robot dogs, doctors, no connection to source, no connection to manifestation, no connection to resource stability and cultivating richness, no connection to restoring the mineral balance. Like, burn and slash, baby. It's all you need. Burn and cover, and you'll never have a pest problem again. Burn and cover. Burn and cover. Like, it's so simple. Of course, we're going to be planting hemp fields in the forest clear cuts because we have to cover the rock, first of all. The rock is heating the planet a little tiny bit, but nobody panic. And the fact is we need the wilds. We need to bring the wilds back. And even if those are 150, 300-year projects, they can start today, and we can transition into a better set of circumstances. Well, for now, just maintaining the status quo, just because I'm not quite ready to step forward yet and show what I created while these bumbling idiots were chasing me all over the internet, trying to pinpoint my location, trying to bioenergetically contain me, trying to geofence me, and then fucking come at my contacts and make my life a living hell. As I cripple forward and outdo them, I just pray I get to work with the conservatives, because there was a flip. Just like there was a flip in America, these figureheads, these popular first servants of ours, came to reject the globalist scenario where, like I said, public servants get a privileged status and become essential and have lifelong full of mobility, but only them. Like, oh, no thanks. I can't really do a Trump, but no thanks. I don't know. I just think they're not populist per se, but state-to-state capitalists, both Pierre and Trump, and they are not working together per se. Like, I think the enthusiasm of Pierre will really impress Donald Trump, and the sharpness of the guy. I think he will, like Trump tends to do, support genius. Like, he supports young people that show signs of remarkable accomplishment. Like, he does. So I think Pierre will just brighten his day a little bit, and they can work together as we restore both of our sectors, which have been completely blocked by the globalists as some foreign threat to their ever foreign nature. These globalists that want to say whatever the fuck they want, all of their science is highly contested by several other viewpoints of perfectly fucking logical science, excuse my French. And they think they're going to be able to say whatever they want, do whatever they want, have no accountability to no one, and yet we're going to somehow succumb to responding to our machines at some point. Like, it's not even a little bit anti coagulating. Like, there's nothing that can coagulate and create momentum within the globalist narrative, the melodrama. And I just pray that you boomers understand. Please support the children. The children have overwhelmingly said 59% of them vote Pierre. That's enough, guys. That's 60% of our young people. We have to be able to support them and say, okay, we're going to let you guys come forward with all of the information. You're going to get to know Miss Newton. Miss Newton doesn't just disappear on her legacy because someone tried to disappear her whole legacy. I don't know who you think you're dealing with. I don't know who you think you're talking to, but it's election day in Canada and this wave is blue. This wave is blue and everybody just needs to calm down and do the right thing today. Do the right thing, guys. It's almost closing time in Newfoundland. We're going to get rolling any minute here. Please just do the right thing. We've got lots of time left in BC. And you kids, stand by your worth and get out in droves. If you've got the numbers, 59%, you've got the numbers. So get out in droves. You have to put it on yourselves. Homeless people, get out in droves. What, you got no address, you can't vote? Is that the thing? Well, it shouldn't be, but he's right. The Liberals left these guys to rot, and we can re-empower them. We can get them cleaned up. We can get them in jobs. We don't need public sector jobs. We need private sector jobs. And we need to maintain the digital interface that allows us to use our own personal wallets direct to market. Transaction numbers only, bud, and on those transaction numbers, we have the SKU of everything involved in what we purchased. Very simple. It's a transaction based in the SKUs involved, and whenever one of those show up illegal, can be investigated further. And it's not by you fucking court systems, it's through private bodies, private neutral bodies of willing citizens, kind of like a judicial process, liberated and turned restorative. We have so many more avenues to explore, but state to state capitalism is the best foundation and through which to accomplish those exciting goals. These are exciting goals we're talking about. And I'm not going nowhere, even if it takes me like 15 years to establish, wait, who is she and what just happened with that girl? You're going to know my story. You're going to know what I just went through. You're going to know that I was suppressed to a level that is disgusting and put on trial as the defendant when all I did was carve a line through an attempt to magnetically isolate and control me, snap my being in all directions, and just take over my surroundings. Like, no, you're never gonna get it, Daddy. You're not gonna jump on whoever you want, take over their life, some disincarnate consciousness, like the worst of them were. And that very brief period when I came across the worst of them directly, they were inconceivably gross 100-year-old consciousnesses that were trying to bounce between the human. And I had to literally sit and watch them try it a couple times before they died trying it, because they just kept coming back as these 1,000-year-old grossies. They were just gross. They were just gross. And that was as alien and as disgusting as it got. The very likelihood of us borrowing the technology of the internet, etc., is fierce, but we also could have done it with a series of reflections and understanding of the different Hertz frequencies of the different biological systems. So ultimately, there's more to come on that as well that you're just not ready for today. But if you are ready for like an understanding of what it means to have somebody just in favor of the public again, just in favor of revitalizing some sectors, we're going to have to take a risk that our standards are high enough when it comes to coal and gas and and oil production, that we can chill at it for now, knowing that these guys tried to turn us to free energy already and profit 0% by running water through everything and calling it propane smell. Oh, I have the propane smell. He showed up at my house out of nowhere, demanded to do an installation, and he's not even dealing in propane. He's dealing in propane smell and water energy. Water, which is completely limitless. Globalists know it. I know it. A lot of people know it. There is no nuclear. It's oxygen generation. Oxygen harvesting, taking a molecule, turning it into another water molecule, and displacing that energy. Displacing that energies in ways that are just frightening. It's not about quantum little worlds and the instability of these structures and the slow rate of processing, but the AI, which never, NTI, which never fucking did anything except steal my logical equations. They had 200 logical equations they just couldn't solve. And they brought it to my door, and I fucking breezed through them all. And I continue to solve logical equations. Now I'm at the level of writing logical questions. They're actually questions that we pose to the children. And it's taking me longer to reestablish myself because they just keep jumping me. Do you know how offensive it is when you walk up to someone and say, "You're coming with us, ma'am. We need to observe you." And then just to have them neglect you and throw you into this slosh of 65% of people that don't belong in there, that have been harassed their whole lives through just for being slightly on the fringe, or in my case, a complete and loathed upon dissident. Like, are you fucked? I'm no dissident. I'm as compliant as a culture becomes, but I don't comply to bullshit. It's impossible. Compliance is like obedience. It happens on the level of a surrender. Surrender to the self first, and then you get to go out and get into relationship. You don't get to not master the self and then think you have a positive influence on relationship. You have zero influence. Let's not get us crooked. There is no influence. There is no influence. I'm sitting here just trying to relax and continue my momentum, meager as it might have been from the last round of attacks, now having to overcome another one. All I did was bust barcode, baby, and that was a flick. That was no and I proved that my data was going to get jammed with, and I got fucking set up like a fool. I know I did. I know I didn't do that. I just know it. And the fact is there was a huge band of data placed into the back of my hat to overcome the alterations they had made to the digital footage. So I got to see how CGI tampering is really easy to spot at best. And I'll do my best once I get working with the technical experts directly, the ones that managed to watch them lift my prototype and now have to want to sell it back to you guys as a fingerprint that overfaces everybody. They actually have to overlay a fingerprint if they're going to win somehow and launch finally 5 years later their prototype of a digistamp where your whole life is in line with this complete and total monitoring and these needless chips, because the whole thing's done on blue light now. It's just completely done on blue light. There's no chips. Everything that's set up and set into place is running no chips. Like, we'll get there. You'll get there. You're not there yet, but you got some far ass ground to travel. And we need to be understanding that Pierre Poilievre is a decent human being. There's nothing wrong with the guy. It's hard to say his name. It's hard to believe he was picked, but he's done his work to get out there and meet people. And just the insincere fuckhead they made out of Justin Trudeau for these toxic, like hyper-dominant, no nonsensical worldviews that will never be accomplished, let alone make any sense. They're just something that has to go by the wayside because of the very irrelevance and inconceivable miscreants of it all. It's inconceivably miscreant. And I don't care what you guys want, public sector. You're going to retire either way. I'd rather not have to work with the Liberals, but the Liberals are the ones that did what they did to me. Those are the ones that took my bank account, took my fucking private wallet, direct market interface, took my non-authenticated private wallet with full password protection, tried to annihilate it, tried to come at it, tried to bust that bubble of protection, like with every force they had, relentlessly for 14 months. Like, why would you come at a perfect sheath of protection? But you did, and to no effect. You could never customize randomization, but I can. I can easily customize randomization, and I did it in that one equation. Because you can't customize randomization, but I can. Because you couldn't figure out how to customize randomization. And you still won't. Not yet. You're still just stuck on the tamperings, the verifications, the constant panderings. One password, man, we can have all this. What do we need logins to all this shit for? Apps. Apps take away from the direct market, actually sacred space that we've created as a financial transaction mechanism without the imposition of authentication and surveillance. We have a perfect system now that anyone can signal. We just have to upgrade it to base it in transaction numbers and understand that anybody can signal any kind of help they want, just because as soon as that transaction number comes up, any associated SKU is listed. That's a component part in the products that are involved. And any illegal number that comes up can be furthered up on. And we're not talking prosecuted. Court system, you are done. Criminal system, you are done. I mean, if you guys don't vote to get those poor homeless some help out there, you can't even do anything but watch these guys try and let it fester in the West. The West was set to go out and solve it worldwide when these pricks came along. And they came directly out of Alberta. Now Alberta's claiming they want Canada back and they want the right to be the big daddy among us and get the resources out of the ground. Great. We're all about your conservative wave. We're going to give it to you. I'm giving it to you. My friends are giving it to you. Our kids are giving it to you. Blue collar everywhere are giving it to you. So let's try and do this to keep Alberta satiated for once and understand that methodology sharing, resource stability for all, and orientation on project is much saner and much more possible now thanks to the interventions of this clown. Just because you don't know my story yet does not mean you understand the canceling I went through. To be Gord Downie's girlfriend first and foremost, and not to have any recognition for it, like, it's so stupid. Like I said, I'm only speaking for his music, not the hips. I'm speaking for Gordy's music, and you can see me in there. I am definitely in there. I am definitely the influence he's talking about, and I definitely have a whole bunch more for you about the reason I hid and stayed away from the spotlight of being his public-facing girlfriend, only to induce Daddy into accepting that challenge he threw at me and running at Daddy with the full force of my fucking tee-hee-hees and making sure that nobody got clamped down on ever for no fucking reason. And Pierre Poilievre is right when he says these guys are being tormented, they're being harassed to death, they're having their IDs stolen again and again and again until they end up homeless, some of them dead, some of them asphyxiate from injections to the lungs. My friend did, and she lost her life really young. It's just not fair. It's just not proper. It's just not even necessary, the idea of hyper-monitorization. Like, you got to understand, we're not fuck-ups. You don't need to be so worried that the fucking world is going to implode unless you subdue us all into not fucking up. You believe this so far, you go as far as to create a generation addicted to your idea of the ideal fuck-up, so the fuck-ups perpetuate based on your fucking orders to perpetuate. And then you're like, and then so I can be scared of the fuck ups and give myself total amnesty, total privilege. And like, you're just fucked. You're just fucked. And like I said, conservative wave all the way. Let's go blue today. It's been a pleasure talking to you on this historical occasion. But like I said, no matter which one gets in, I'm coming for my bank account. Nobody's taken my income generator from me. I'm allowed to move that forward into another bank account. And I'm allowed to work with younger generation programmers to establish my digital wallet and hook my bank account through my end usership into my fucking private wallet, which goes direct to market. Unauthenticated, password protected and totally safe, because it comes to a point where there's a crime alleged, then it can easily be explored and tapped for component numbers. And if one comes up illegal, we got a right to deal with it. And I don't mean by jailing people. It's over. That shit is not happening anymore. We're not giving any more children to a lifetime in that situation. That is not trustworthy. Under AI, it becomes more corruptible than anything you have ever seen. And we're just like thinking, it's not adding Trump to Canadian politics to put Pierre in. But Pierre is going to work with Trump, and they are going to have a very endearing relationship. That's my prediction. And we deserve to enjoy that prosperity. We deserve to just enjoy for a bit, because that's what we were doing when we were creating before this whole mess erupted and privatization grew to globalization and to total fucking joke ass tyranny. Like, I mean, the narratives within it are such crass pieces of garbage. The offensive nature of the pseudoscience is enough to be like, okay, just anything to return. Like, look at his apprenticeship program. Look at his home sales tax relief program. Look at the TFSA adjustments. Look at the, $2,000 in income tax back a year initiative. It's time. If the privatists really truly believe in the conservative ability to lead, then you need to understand that we need to flesh that out. $2,000 a year back in taxes is a plus. Finally, we deserve that. You guys have privatized everything. There's nothing left. 2,000 is a minimum. Let's bring it up to like 8,500. But with my digital wallet full of my income generators' money, doling projects digitally and just opening sectors of development, same as Apple's doing with this $500 billion plant they're trying to build. That's just lent money. That money doesn't exist. They're just going to feed it in digitally through my fucking prototype. They have no choice. They've taken my fingerprint and voice recognition and the back end of my legal account, sold right to them by Scotiabank. And they've duplicated models for themselves that are non-authenticated, private password, direct to market. And it's really just tragic how the whole thing played out. But a proper perusal of my digital identity one day when the time is right will lead to the understanding that I was the one that wrote the program, and the program only functions on an asset-driven basis. There's no more liability left. I had to cancel it. We could have had a liability infrastructure that was loaned out just to ensure the development of a restoration network, but we can't even handle that yet. A restoration network, something totally unheard of yet, that could constantly recalibrate the human energy fields, and the human could work within an energy band in a more tangible way than you ever thought possible. And this is what I see happening in the next 350 years. Humans aren't stupid. They aren't fucking around. They didn't come to fuck around like Satan said, and we could reset the whole thing at the year 2000 with Christ never coming back and sell out this fucking congenial version of Christmas that goes right along with the hospital narrative. Like, it was never going to work, but you tried it. You definitely tried it right out loud, right in public, right in front face. And now you want to globalize the supply chains, lend it out to preferred suppliers who are your goon squads, who you privatized, entitled, and promised the world to, but who are not getting bodies in your cells. That's the end of it. We're done with it. You've got your mental health stream. If you think you're going to build out, Pierre Poilievre, another fucking industry to help the homeless, you're wrong. You're going to take the people out of the beds that don't belong there in the mental health institution, utilize those beds to help these people recover, turning those into addiction and rehabilitation programs, and getting the few people that are actually stuck in there somewhere safer, somewhere they can have a little bit of dignity, because they're only vegetables. And we have to take care of the 1 or 2 generations of vegetables these pricks did manage to create. Vax dead. Vax vegetable, Vax superhero, depending on wherever they thought they could take the nervous energy. Like, again, you'll never just block off the lucid frequency I could always tell when they were coming at me that they were lucid. They were people who were living in the lucid state perpetually, or so they thought, because they tried to dominate. When I went into the lucid state, they first and quickly realized that I was a lucid state master, and I was already developed at dropping into my lucid state at the right part of the day. And I had planned my whole night to sleep properly so that my lucid state could be activated and I'd have my premonitions for the day. That they thought that I had to put that away. I had to put that knowledge out of center, because when they were coming at me directly, I just had to accept that they were manifesting my lucid state, or I was trying to keep track of my lucid state on a different level so I could always show up when they were showing up, because they had obtained the frequency of my lucid state, or so they thought, by physically targeting me. Keep in mind, they still can't get me online. They couldn't see exactly what I was doing, but they had physically targeted the one who did it. They knew me. It was so obvious. Like all they did was rip it out of my email, rip it out of my bank account, rip it. They were just online through my PC, and that's when I realized how much leeway the end user actually had in these beautiful systems of ours that keep us interacting on this extraordinarily private, personalizable, you know, infinitely guidable web. It's just so beautiful. And we just have so much more we could be doing with it. So hang in there, we're coming. But for now, please just go PP. Just go PP for PM. Like, who cares if its name is PP? Like, PP. The Canadians are just as happy as with that as we are with Looney and Toonie. Because we make fun of garbage trash economies. We know damn well digital currency and the Canadian Digital Currency Reserve is the only way forward. It's the best way forward. It's the best way to restore methodology sharing, negotiation, project orientation, innovation, complete and total resource stability, and global collective organization. Ugh. I know you don't believe me yet. I know you think I don't exist. I know you watched me be completely rendered, like they duplicated me. There's a whole tract in Hollywood that has duplicated me and Gordy's influence and tried to diminish it. And that was a hell of a thing to go through. Honestly, that was a personal assault that is a horrible rape, a terrible, twisted, demonic thing. And you did it just with such hatred and such belittlement. Like, as the recipient of the treatment, I can only say, why did you do that to this bitch? Like, you gotta understand, you're coming at a beautiful lady. You're not coming at some, smarmy piece of, I'm gonna be on the next bandwagon that's presented to me, piece of bullshit. We're just talking about someone that's praying today. I'm just going to go back to it. I'm praying for a conservative minority at least. I'd love to see what's his face try and battle out 4 years in an opposition position where he couldn't really get at his assets and get his globalist rocks off and get his like worm eating. What are we supposed to do? Eat worms, drink pesticide, um, breathe fucking hydrogen, because this is OH in the skies. It's nothing else. It's an offshoot of nuclear fission, which is oxygen harvesting, water molecule. They take it off. This is just byproduct. It's OH. That's why it never rains. It just rolls in and constantly gets created at huge. That's why the portions are so big. 1.5 million liters of water at a time just burnt off and peeled back. The bitumen siphoned away to create water again. The water flowed back in through North Korea, through all these channels. Nestle thinks they're going forward, but are actually going backwards. Just pollute the lakes and then just make the water. That was their plan, and they could never make as water as a better redistribution of that process could achieve. We're allowed to do that on a much wider scale. It's not a harmful process. It really isn't. They pretend it's harmful, but that's just so we won't look at it. Anyway, it is what it is. There's been some terrible disasters caused by splitting atoms, because you can't split atoms. You don't take a Hertz frequency of a basic foundational structure and try to tear it like they did to cleft their the first attempts at clefting new realities into the non-audible realm of frequency. Anyway, it is what it is. There's a lot more to come on that, but I'm enjoying a heightened clarity these days, and I enjoy talking because I've become much more direct and concise, as precise as I was when I rewrote that core program. And now you guys, you leftist freaks, have no choice but to come at everybody with a prototype of my prototype, a digital stamp you'd have to put on everyone before you could assign them a number. That's how you're going to have to figure out how to, you know, falsify your interface where you're the owner of private information, and that's done for the good of anyone because none of your systems even function. Blockchain was rendered totally redundant. Fucking app technology, Internet of Things, totally redundant, totally fucking, crashable and inexcusably corruptible. The demands for private information that was put on through that whole thing is just a clown show. And ultimately, now we're moving towards something that's much sounder, and more to come on that. I don't need to spew the details of the rape I just went through to people who were uninterested at the time because they were duly convinced that there was no South and no Jonah and no Sri Chinmoy and no Sri Aurobindo and no a whole bunch of other things, while these crusader relics took one more fucking cajole at it. Okay. So I pray, just get out and vote conservative. Let's wake up tomorrow and let that Sonny Pierre Poilievre get his way and get his vision implemented. I'd love to see it happen. I'd absolutely hope that the staunch, bitter, entitled, spoiled, filthy, ruined remnants of that sort of supremacist, classist ideal that almost took root here. Thanks to the Arabs, by the way, coming on in and being all Arab about everything and being oligarchical and not then recognizing the last remaining oligarch, which is moi. There'll never be another oligarch because there's moi. Quadrillions of dollars, it's amazing. That never end, totally infinite, now set at assets because nobody can get into that bank account. You close it down, nobody can get into it because it's still my fucking thing. That's why you could never get it out of the account, and you can't get back into it just because you claim to know both parts of my password, right? Remember, once they take your bank account back, they just show your password and do whatever they want with it. Like the jeopardy that my bank account is in right now, with those crooks taking it back, just taking the whole thing back. They just need to accept defeat already and understand that you just can't take that back. It's not the bank's property. It's my property. It was on the deep level of identity theft that you guys took that from me. And you had more than access to my bank account when you did it. But that's where I found it. I found it in the bank account. I established it as part of my name page. And it can remain as my asset because definitely the bank either knew or didn't know about it, but the next day when they started erasing my access to it, they knew they were implicated, and they were probably do-gooding because they thought, well, God forbid we ever get rid of our status quo. Yeah, we know you're protected. Nobody is doing anything but paying you to die off slowly, like the powder keg giving off sparks that you aren't. You're harmful people. You're completely experienced mass psychosis. And we are just hoping there's only 500,000 of you based on our best estimates. Clearly, those polls were cooked. We're not worried about that at all. Like the polls were just used in the American and Canadian elections in such a fascist manner to legitimately guide the votes, to support media bias and so many things that have already been disproven not to work. All of that happened, and we had to sit there and just pretend, our guts were telling us otherwise. So I'm just excited. Let's see what's happening as the first polls close. Let's get those votes counted and do it right and stop scandalizing about boxes of voters' ballots going missing and shit. That's just not happening. It's a Canadian election. and it needs to be trusted for what it is, the heartfelt. Remember when we used to do the wave as a country? Remember when we used to party to the hip? Like when we were partying to the hip, we knew exactly what we were doing. We were showing up, sharing the best, moving in new directions, comparing our notes, creating new opportunities amongst each other, and communicating directly with our government, which was a stupid idea. We should have never gave them tax bucks. They just got so greedy in the end, demanding enough tax bucks in Canada to go global by stealing pennies. They stole those pennies to go global with a reset sheet, with an income generator that was limitless, and they were just going to dole out at trillions of dollars of debt and interest. Just they were going to so subtly shift it behind the cowboy and install these digital income generators that went right from legal identities, but as five funders, hunting down 7 chains into preferred suppliers' coffers that were going to loan it out at a debt rate on behalf of the rest of us. It is what it is, but you 500,000 lobbyists, 500,000 public sector workers, I don't know, maybe 3 million lobbyists we're talking. I think you're alone in this bullshit. And I just can't wait to see you see the light. It's only seeing the light, guys. And we're all hoping that you come on board with something a little lighter. But you're not the first priority. We've got poverty, we've got debt reduction, we got buying out the banks after that, we've got paying out the tax debts, we've got the tax debts first, then the banks. Like I said, credit card tax, poverty, credit card tax, debt, banks. We have to pay those banks and some of these communications fucking idiot mongers that are trying to hoard all the data away from the private end user and duplicate it. Dude, it's a duplication, right? We've already got it. Man, never mind. Just because what we get connection on the line, you can't figure out emergency services any more than to rob it blindly and try and interface with it and jump in on whoever the fuck you wanted. Like, the dirty crimes of these beggars are never going to go unpublished. I had my story. I saw my witness. When I was witnessing the launch of the 3 Bitcoins, including Proton, which was mine, I was witnessing it as unfolding at a Tim Hortons on a Bluetooth, listening to it live as these guys were going in and cashing in their new debit cards that they traded their email addresses for in a one number system where everything they did approved and only ever pumped out one number because price tags are limitless. That they had wired like 4% of bank cards to go and whatever it said, approve, just approve. And a one number system. And even Justin Trudeau, when he said, can you imagine when I saw that happening? So I said, I can imagine it, sir, but I wasn't going to let it happen simply because you were too fucking in the dark to figure out what was going on. Anyway, it is what it is. So let's go, let's party, let's get a drink on, and let's watch this thing go down as if it was the greatest hockey game of all time. Like I said, I think Donald Trump and Pierre will be quite a duo, and that Pierre's insight and enthusiasm and integrity is going to impress the pants off Donald, and they can both work together to restore and recover their service and production sectors and move us towards a synthetic production sector that we're eventually going to move towards, and not cut each other's grass too much with the tariffs. They can die off and back off once Canada starts to liberate that $250 billion. We don't need $250 billion in Canada. Let's not forget. We have $14 trillion a year in tax revenue generated in this shithole, this godforsaken shithole. And we are not fucking around with $250 billion over it. Our sovereignty for $250, take it. $250 billion, we're the Canadian digital reserve currency based on Miss Newton's contributions. And once her infrastructure is restored through an analyzation, like a safe analysis of her digital resources, once it's 50 years down the road and these kids are actually woke enough to get her done, woke meaning, to be clear, you're missing out when you're not functioning on a high level, like my ass. Like when you're cognitively in play and can actually strategize after projecting and before projecting, because you strategize and then you project outcomes, but you also have to project outcomes and strategize based on the potentials that you see emerging from the decisions that are being made on all fronts. This is a multi-front scenario. Anyway, don't be mad, don't be sad, don't be fucking grim, don't be glib, don't be seething. Just time to have some fun for once. Time to restore what we know is possible here and what we were perpetuating by our example globally. Oh, God, I'll never, in all my wildest dreams, forget how creepy that joint was. But just knowing that the kids are going blue and feeling good about that. One for each. Going blue is enough to know that you don't have to look at what I saw. I can be the only one that ever witnessed the extent of horror in that gory show, that gore show, and the entitlement with which those privatized little goon squads thought they could walk in and take over whatever the fuck they thought they could or wanted to. Like I said, these globalists have the nerve to attack free speech when they are so blatantly out to say whatever the hell they want and promote any form of blasé science to do it. Like, come on. Let's just be cool, okay? Blue penguins, blue penguins. We're going to go build the military in the north. Make sure that no subtle influences are going to be taken over those ports. You're getting a friendly Canadian high up there. Dump your data points. Bink. Passport protection and services check. All your available SKUs on your transaction records, please. Very perfect. Dump the transaction records. This is a border exchange. Coming in, coming out. We're doing this the legal way. What's wrong with that? The rest of us are supposed to succumb to the legal conditions that were brought about because it made sense, and have you guys just run roughshod on it like some violent predator. Anyway, I got me an antique table. I'm not too impressed with that, but for now it'll do. All right, because I'm just barely scraping by. It's just been tedious pretending, oh my God, let's block your access to our income generator. It's back, it's finally ours, but we potentially have to now lend out her digital fingerprint to everybody. Yes, you do, bud, because it's the only prototype for what you're trying to pull off at such a seedy level of incoherent rambling. I just can't wait to stay on it. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks for listening, and I cannot wait to party with you all tonight. Yay! Election day on!